Alright, we need to do some application problems. 17 less than 8 times a number is equal to 11 more than 6 times a number. That can be really confusing, especially if you're trying to keep it all in your head at the same time. Let's try to write it down in pieces. 17 less than 8 times a number. Okay, so let's start there. 17 less than something. If I say 17 less than 20, what would you do? 17 less than 20 is 3, right? Well, that means 20 minus 17. To say 17 less than means we have to do minus 17. So let's do the same thing with this problem. We are going to have a minus 17 in there, but it's not 17 less than 20, it's 17 less than 8 times a number. So how do we do 8 times a number? Okay, 8x, or 8n, or something like that. Okay, good. 17 less than 8 times a number. We got that done. Is equal to, that's the easy part, equals 11 more than 6 times the number. How do we do 11 more? We do plus 11, right? Plus 11, okay, good. 11 more than 6 times the number. Okay, 6 times the number is 6x. Good. All right, so this was definitely the hardest part of the whole problem. After that, we just solve it like normal. So remember the steps for solving. Okay. And so we're going to simplify both sides, but they're already simplified. Then we'll add or subtract something. So let's try to add 17 to both sides. Okay, add 17 over here. They will cancel. Let's subtract 6x from both sides. Subtract 6x over here. Okay, that will cancel. So we get 2x equals 18. Now we'll use the multiplication property of equality to divide both sides by 2. So we get x equals 9. Great job. Okay, let's move on to number 3. 2 minor league baseball players got a total of 274 hits. Washington had 2 more hits than Sanchez. Find the number of hits for each player. Okay, together, let's say they're W and S. W and S together, Washington and Sanchez, got a total of 274 hits. All right. So, got a total of 274 hits. That's this part right here. Okay. Also, we know that Washington had 2 more hits than Sanchez. So Washington had 2 more hits than Sanchez. So does the number of hits of Washington equal Sanchez? No, Washington had 2 more hits. So which one is a bigger number? Washington's hits. He had 2 more. So we need to add 2 to the number of Sanchez so that they're equal. Okay, good. So Washington had 2 more hits than Sanchez. So that's where this equation came from. All right, now let's use these equations. We're going to use this first equation as our main equation, but instead we're going to substitute in place of W, we're going to put that W equals S plus 2. So our equation was W plus S equals 274, but we also know that W equals S plus 2, so we're going to replace W, it's called substitution, replace W with, sorry, not W plus 2, but S plus 2. Okay, so replace W with S plus 2, and then plus S equals 274. Great. Now we have an equation that we can solve. Notice this is one equation with only one variable in it, just S's. So we know how to solve this. This is S plus 2 plus S equals 274. We're going to solve it with our same steps that we always use. Okay, so simplify both sides. We can add like terms. 2S plus 2 equals 274. We'll use the addition property to subtract 2 from both sides. 2s equals 272. Then we'll use the multiplication property to divide by 2 on both sides. 2, 3, 6. Okay, so this tells us that Sanchez got 136 hits. So if Sanchez had 136 and Washington had 2 more, then Washington must have had 138. So then we can come over and figure out Washington is 136, Sanchez is 136, Washington equals Sanchez, which is 136, plus 2. Okay, so that's 138. All right, great. Let's now look at number 6. Okay. So for number 6, we have a boy purchased a party-length sandwich 60 inches long. He wants to cut it into 3 pieces so that the middle piece is 6 inches longer than the shortest piece. And the shortest piece, is 9 inches shorter than the longest piece. How long should the 3 pieces be? So that we don't get so confused, let's go ahead and draw. We have a long piece, we're going to have a middle piece, we're going to have a short piece, and it tells us that, let's say the short piece, we don't know how long it is, but let's say it's x. It tells us that the middle piece is 6 inches longer than the shortest piece, so it's x plus 6 inches, 6 inches longer, and the shortest piece is 9 inches shorter than the longest piece. So the longest piece is also x plus 9. It's 9 inches longer. Okay, so if the shortest piece is x, then the middle piece is plus 6 and the longest piece is plus 9. That helps us find an equation. So we know the whole thing is 60. So if we add up the shortest piece plus the middle piece plus the longest piece, we should get 60 inches of sandwich. All right, so we can use this equation with our steps to figure out how long the shortest piece is. Okay, so let's simplify this side. We have 3x's, x plus x plus x. We'll add like terms, 3x. And then we can add the 6 and the 9 are also like terms. Plus 15 equals 60. We'll subtract 15 from both sides, so 3x equals 45. And then we'll divide both sides by 3, so x is 15 inches. Don't forget your units. Okay, 15 inches. All right, once we know that the shortest side is 15 inches, we know the middle piece, okay, so this one was for the short piece. The middle piece is 6 inches longer than that. So we can figure out the middle piece by just adding 6. So 21 inches. Okay, and then we can also figure out the long piece. Well, it doesn't look like my eraser is going to work, but the long piece will be 9 inches longer, or you could say 3 inches longer than this one. But 9 plus 15 is 24 inches. All right, great. Okay, let's move on then to number 9. If the sum of 3 consecutive even integers is 192, what is the first of 3 even integers? Okay, so if we want consecutive even integers, let's say our first one is 2. And our second one, if they're consecutive even integers, then our second one would be 4 and our next one would be 6. But let's say we're representing this with a variable. Okay, so x would be the first one. What's the second one going to be? If the first one is x and x is 2, then to get the next one, we have to skip 2 more, right? We have to have x plus 2. And to get to the third one, we have to have x, 2 plus what is 6? 2 plus 4 is 6. So we have to have x plus 4. Okay, so we're going to use these 3 arbitrary consecutive even integers as our integers. Okay, so we want to add them up. The sum of 3 consecutive even integers is 192. So we're going to add up x, and the second one is x plus 2, and the third one is x plus 4. Okay, and we will add them up, and they equal 192. What is the first of the 3 even integers? So we can use this equation. We'll add like terms. We have x, 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 so that's 3x, and then we have 2 plus 4 is 6, equals 192. The addition property of equality tells us we can subtract 6 from both sides. Okay, so that would be 186, and then we can divide by 3 on both sides. So that would be 62. So the first one must be 62, the next one would be 64, and the third one would be 66. All right, let us look at number 10. The measure of an angle's supplement is 20 more than 3 times that of its complement. Find the measure of the angle described. Okay, so I'm not sure what this angle looks like, but it has a supplement and a complement. Okay, so let's say we have an angle that looks like this maybe. Okay, this is our angle. Let's call it alpha. You can call it whatever you want. The angle supplement. What is the supplement going to be? I'm going to call it S. The supplement of an angle adds up to be 180. So the supplement is going to be 180 minus whatever the angle is, right? And the complement of an angle adds up to be 90. So it's going to be 90 minus whatever the angle is. The angle plus its complement is 90. All right, so we know what S and C are. We know that the measure of the angle's supplement, let's call it S, is, means equals, 20 more than 3 times its complement. So it's 3 times its complement, but 20 more than that, 20 degrees more. All right, find the measure of the angle described. Okay, so we can use, now we have lots of equations. We have 3 actually. This one, how we get from this sentence right here. This one that we get from what it means to be a supplement. This one that we get from what it means to be a complement. We can plug in this for S. Okay, so let me highlight some stuff here. S, we can replace S with this because we know that S equals this. And we can also replace C with this because we know that C equals this. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of substitution here. Let's plug in this for S, 180 minus alpha. And then in place of C, we're going to put 90 minus alpha. And don't forget the plus 20. Okay, that's still there. All right, now we have an equation that has 1 variable, and we can solve it. We can solve an equation that only has 1 variable. We'll simplify both sides separately. Okay, so this is 270, make sure to distribute, minus 3 alpha, plus 20. We can still simplify. We have some like terms. 180 minus alpha equals, this would be 290 minus 3 alpha. Okay, and the addition property tells us we can add 3 alpha to both sides. So 180 plus 2 alpha equals 290. And the addition property also tells us we can subtract 180 from both sides. So 2 alpha equals 110. And then lastly, the multiplication property tells us we can divide by 2 on both sides. So divide by 2, running out of room, divide by 2. So alpha equals 55 degrees. Okay, don't forget your units for your answer. All right, awesome.